Guys, back at it with another video today. Today we're going to be breaking down one of my favorite finesse worms that I like to use in deep grass situations for largemouth bass or on a Nico rig or wacky rig on the river, which is the bubble butt. Now, the cool thing about the bubble butt, just like the little bubble butt, it has the same thing right here. If you can kind of see, it has the air pocket, you can kind of hear it. Where when you cast it out, what's going to happen is that this part of the worm is going to sit up perfectly on the bottom because of that air pocket. Now, there are 3 ways that I like to rig this. 2 of them are most specifically for largemouth, and then the last one is more for the river. So we're going to break down those 3 ways today. We're going to stick for the first 2 ways as we're going to break it down using, if I'm fishing in grass, especially for largemouth, or fishing on rock for largemouth. And then the last way is going to be the way that I like to rig it for the river. So the first way that I like to rig it for straight up grass fishing is that owner Charlie Brewer slider head. You're going to do that right just like this. You're going to go right in. You're going to bring it around. Now, the important thing about the Charlie Brewer head is that you're going to want this little part of the plastic to be on the hook keeper. That's what keeps the bait from sliding off. And then lastly, you're just going to Texpose it right here. There you go. That's the first way that I like to rig the bubble butt for fishing for deep grass. Now, this is the smaller Charlie Brewer head. You can fish it on a bigger slider head. You can also fish it on a Texas rig too with a bigger hook, but this is one of the ways that I like to rig it up. If I'm going super finesse, if I'm fishing in deep grass, or if I'm fishing in a lot of logs, it goes really, really good in and out of cover. Now, the second way that I like to fish it is a good old shaky head. Now, this is what I'm gonna be really fishing if I'm fishing rocks. And I'm fishing, a lot of times I like to fish it on beds too for bass. Now here's the thing, you can use your favorite type of shaky head jig head. This is the one that I like to use. What I like to do is I like to push it in a little bit. That's usually what helps me get it on. Once you get it on there, you're gonna thread it all the way up towards the jig head, like that. And then just like the Charlie Brewer head, you're going to finesse it just like that. And then that's the shaky head. Now what's gonna work really, really good with the shaky head is that air pocket, and with the shaky head, it's gonna sit up perfectly on the water, just like this, bouncing on rock, bouncing on cover. One of my favorite ways to fish this bait in on either bedding largemouth or smallmouth, or just on any rock points. Now, my favorite way to fish it on the river is a Nico rig or a wacky rig. I'm going to be rigging up a wacky rig, and I'll show you exactly how to rig up a Nico rig too. So, you're going to grab your claw string pliers. You're going to shove the worm in. Don't be shy. Okay, there you go. First part of it is done. You're going to have your cross ring right there. If you want to use a Nico rig, what you're going to do is that you're going to insert your weight into the plastic. Try to get it as straight on as you can. And there you go. Then you're going to get your favorite wacky rig hook. I don't like to overcomplicate it. This is my favorite one. Now, here's where a lot of people make mistakes with a Nico rig. What a lot of people will like to do is when they rig it, is that they're going to put their hook going this way. Now, here's what's wrong with that. If you think about it like this, your bait's going to be hopping on the bottom like this. You're not going to get a good hookup ratio when the hook is going down towards the bottom. What you want to do is flip it around to have the hook going the opposite way. If I can get it. Now, with this way, when a fish comes to bite it, what's going to happen is that the hook's going to be already there on the top of the mouth. So then when you set the hook, you don't really need to set that hard, and it's going to be a perfect penetration right then and there. Now, if you were fishing a wacky rig all you would be doing is just not having the weight and just fishing it like this. A lot slower fall because there's not a lot of salt in the worms, and it is gonna stick up like this. So this is really good for the river when that water is really, really, really low. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We broke down the Undercover Bubble Butt, 3 ways that I like to fish it. Remember, shaky head, Nico rig, or slider head. You can fish any of those techniques, both lake and river, but I like to use the slider head and the shaky head mostly for lakes and largemouth, and the wacky/Nico rig for smallmouth on the river. If you want to get some, go to www.undercoverbaits.com. Make sure you use code JC10 to save some money, and I hope you guys have a great day.